Lord, as we come to you again this evening, I want to thank you for our health and strength, for being able to be here. Lord, as we come to this meeting, not only this meeting, Lord, but we pray for our nation, our state, our county, and our town of Perry. We ask for your guidance. We ask for your help tonight in this meeting, that we make the right decisions for the town of Perry. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor, before we start, may I say something good?
Sure.
On behalf of myself and a lot of our neighbors, I personally want to thank Paul Johnson for the work he did on people's driveways. I mean, he saved my life because others did something was short. And Paul came up and did my driveway, not only mine, but I know a lot of others he did. I personally just want to thank him here in this meeting. He did a great job. These guys are here on the trucks. I saw them scraping too, late at night, so.
Aren't you glad you could do?
Yes.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm gonna pay it forward, because I thank Jason for what he posted, for what Tristan Markin did for this town. Staying down here through that entire storm, sleeping on a cot, microwaving food, to make sure he was available to the citizens of this town. And I think, I'm just gonna say, the town complains I don't care that the town complains on me. It don't bother me at all, but it bothers me when they complain on Joe, Paul, Tristan, and Jason. If there's a problem, it's one thing, but just to complain, I take exception to it, because, y'all work above and beyond. I get out here fiddling with my tractor, just play and have fun, but y'all do it as a job. And, if y'all get out there and push in this weather, and that stuff was nice to push. And for Tristan to stay here and sleep on the cot and cook in the microwave, that's top notch. Yes, it is.
Well, one thing that I'll just coattail on that with, staff has a very difficult job. They do. They deal with people every day that don't want to pay the water bills, don't want to pay the taxes and everything else, and they want to fuss and fight about it. And that includes all of our staff. But we had one interesting one this past week. They brought us a check and paid the water bill. And on the check, in the memo line, they put water thieves. So that's the kind of stuff that our people feel multiple times every day. So, I think they all deserve a pat on the back.
Yes.
Yeah, Shane, I didn't mean to leave you out.
I don't have to be included. I know my value.
All right. The consent agenda, you guys have the January expenditures and the January meeting and workshop minutes. And I would like to add to the agenda our 250th year celebration. Brenda Bowman asked me to bring that up, and Jimmy and Alice, when we get to that, you guys still going to those meetings? You guys still working on it?
I have been up until, we had one yesterday and I hadn't been because of the weather.
Okay.
But I did not go to the last one, but everything's moving along. What they're wanting to do, for one thing, they're gonna hang a banner across probably somewhere in this town, celebrating.
Well, can we hold off on that till we get to that point?
Sure.
Let's get through a couple of things, and then we'll bring that up. All right. How about the January expenditures? Any questions? No. Do I hear a motion that we accept and pass?
Make a motion that we accept and pass the expenditures for the month of January.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Shannon?
Steve,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Alice. Yes. Bob.
Yes.
All right, they're passed. The January meeting and workshop minutes, any questions or comments on those?
One little correction that, the computer, made for, on the water treatment plant, instead of an 11-acre partial, it's a parcel. That's a computer-driven correction, and then on the January 22nd, my question was, what is a bond council?
What is a bond council?
New business and or business subsequent or to notice, the state mandate construction update.
We have to sell bonds to pay for the construction of the Phase 2 water project. What, Joe, 500, our share is what, 550,000 or something?
Yeah.
Okay,
And so their lawyers, they prepare and sell these bonds
okay.
on our behalf.
And they are counsel like lawyers.
Yeah.
That's not spelled CIL at the end, it's SEL.
Okay,
So wherever you see bond counsel CIL, it needs to be changed
okay,
to SEL.
all righty.
All right,
And January 6th, I was here.
do what?
On the January 6th meeting, I was here.
Okay. Now Jimmy, the 250th,
Right. They're gonna be selling signs to put in the yard for $10 per sign. They're gonna be asking a bunch of volunteers to go out and sell these signs. You just put them in the yard, sales, in celebration of the 250th anniversary of Pennsylvania County. They also gonna put banners up. They talking about putting a banner here in Hurt and also one as you go into Chapel. Just saying, it's the 250th anniversary of Pennsylvania County. So that's about it. I mean, they're looking for volunteers to do other things. They want churches involved. I've already talked to 3 pastors who may go up and put up, not tents, but set up a little recreation, a little table with something from the churches on it. And they're asking churches to do that. And I've already talked to 3 pastors in this area. Now, somebody else is taking care of the outside of this area. That's about all I've got on this one.
okay,
Now, Caleb, if anybody really wants any information and you want to help in any way, Kaylin McCluster is over the entire thing. And apparently she's doing a great job. So if it's anything you want to put into it or volunteer for, all you have to do is call Kaylin. And I've got a list at the house I'll be bringing tonight of all the committee chairmen, if you need, and you want to call somebody and say you want to do something on one of their committees.
well, one of the things that they're asking me is what do we plan to do as a town?
What do we want to do?
I got an idea that's, I mean, it's not much, but, kind of goes back to the old Memorial Day, but just do a big cookout. Hamburgers, hot dogs, chips.
Well, you don't want to do it that day, and the reason being is they're going to furnish food to everybody free. Food and drinks are going to be furnished. It's going to be at the center right there before you get into Chapel.
Right, but I'm talking about for our town.
Well, if you want to do it in the town, that would be a different thing.
Yeah, because we probably won't have a lot of people driving to China.
Right, we talking about.
One,
That's why she's asking us, what are we gonna do here specifically for the town of Hurt?
one thing,
I'm 4th of July, it's cookout, they just kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, because that really wasn't spelled out in the earliest days. I mean, it was just like we didn't exist.
Which Mr. Deeben all was still
What-
alive with some fireworks.
Oh, Lord,
One thing I was thinking about suggesting is having a contest for people in the town to decorate their yards or the front of their houses in a patriotic way. And then we could potentially ask businesses in town to do a gift card for the winner.
Yeah,
Nothing too crazy, but just, try to encourage celebration and patriotism. I think it would be kind of an interesting idea. Kind of like what they do with the
Yeah.
Scarecrow over in Alta Vista.
yeah, that's
It'd be fun.
Yeah,
It would be fun.
yeah. Okay, so we got a couple things, cookout.
we go, car show, you go.
I don't know.
And she said that if we wanted to hang some banners and flags and stuff like that, she would try to get us all we could. And she was asking about, was it any way we could hang something on the old Winn-Dixie building out there, that thing that used to have Winn-Dixie written on it, hang a banner or something there.
Heck, yeah, we'll run one from all the way across.
So I tell you what, why don't everybody think about it and just send me suggestions? And we got a little time so we can take it up at the workshop and I'll kind of get your thoughts together and what you might want to do. All right. Next, the opening of public comments. Ladies,
What you got?
Just wondering, I think our town looks great. After all this storm and everything like that, I know that these guys worked on the roads, a whole lot of people. I appreciate Paul for what he did in my driveway. Young man up the end of our street, his name is Austin. I don't know his last name.
Coffee.
Okay. He swept my driveway and he presented it as, I'll do it for you and you don't have to give me anything. And he did my driveway, Mrs. Shields, I think he did Larry, he did Richard, he did a bunch of driveways. But I think our town has really done well during this storm and I want to commend everybody. I've gotten a little aggravated with some of the Facebook comments, but that's neither here nor there about mail might not being delivered. I said, really?
The post office office.
I've never seen a storm this bad. And I'm from West Virginia. I mean,
A lot of people, you couldn't even get to the mailbox. That's the one thing.
exactly.
It's over there, the street, and there's, the big boxes that we have to have keys for, and I've been there once.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate everything that everybody did. I think our town looks great. And I'm glad we're doing that.
You put a lot of people on your website. I saw that today.
I did.
Had your name on that. Did you put all these people on that website?
I don't know what website you're talking.
Well, the one that's the town of Hurt, Virginia residents, and
that's the one I do.
That's just the mayor's.
I know, but it had some new people on there. Had Kim's name on there.
Oh, okay, yeah, but I didn't,
Yeah.
I'm just a member.
All right, moving on. The state mandate construction update. We signed the agreement this week for the VRA loan. So that's in place. We've turned it in to the state. We have one thing that we've got to do, and Joe and I were talking about that today, is they're asking us to give a completion date. So we're working with the engineers on that. And of course, you run into how long it's going to take to get pumps in and all this, but we have to have a date to be able to close the loan. Webb's today is on top of it, so he's ready to move forward. I think he communicated with you, John, didn't he, about the ad in the paper? So,
Right, we set it in, so it's gonna go on the 11th and the 18th.
so we're in pretty good shape on all of that. The plaza, I'm working with Rachel Del Campo on an additional grant that we've been able to find. So we've got couple, 3 grants out there that we're working on for that. And as soon as Matt's able to get back in and have a discussion with council, I suspect we're going to be starting on that pretty quick. And while we're on the plaza, snow removal, it's been a little question about what roads do we plow versus the state. And Joe, we're only responsible for 3 roads in town of Hurt, right?
Yeah.
That's Poplar, across from Hurt Elementary School.
Yeah, and then the end of East Spencer, where it turns to stone down to the court, so,
Left side as you're going out of town,
yeah, and then Cemetery Road.
where the water tower is.
Yeah.
That's all we're responsible for. The state maintains all the rest. And I called Jay Craddock Saturday morning and talked to him. And I told him that, we were going to have a conversation about it and, whether or not we want to do something more than what we're doing or less than what we're doing or anything like that. And he said, I can promise you one thing. You do not want to be in the snow removal business. You don't want it. No way under the sun. I wouldn't even think about it. I wouldn't recommend it for the town to get involved in it or anything else. So I hear good advice. I like to take it. But the one thing that isn't going to go away is the plaza. We own it and we're responsible for it. And if somebody falls over there and breaks a leg or breaks a back, then we're in trouble. So the plaza, when it comes to snow, is going to have to be our top priority to clean. And that's before we hit the 3 streets. And I hope council agrees with
Yeah,
that.
that's our primary highway.
That's it. Yeah. So we may take incoming on that from the public, but we're just going to have to take it because, or either we can either clean it or we can hire it out to be clean, one or the other. But that has to be number one for us.
The reason it looks like it does now is because we hit the streets first.
Yeah.
By our house and the streets. When we got back to the plaza, it was so hard, that crowd wasn't moving now.
Yeah.
We couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Finally had to get somebody to come in and scrape. And they came in with a machine.
Yeah. All right, Joe, we'll go ahead and get started on our reports from staff. Marissa isn't here. I think Shannon, you're gonna.
I gave the papers to everyone. So just make sure if I haven't already received it, that you sign it and give it back to me.
All right. Shannon, now that you've handled the treasurer's slot, you want to do yours?
So I have been doing a little research into taxes and past due taxes. There are 2 properties we need to look into where the people have not paid their real estate taxes for multiple years. So I was just informing Don about it as well. Another thing that I'm working on is I'm getting ready to do DMV stops for the personal properties that's not been paid, but I'm having to proceed at it very slowly because there have been a lot of taxes that have been put into the system for people that are not inside town limits. They're in Hurt, but they're in the outside. So it's going to be a slow process because I don't want to put a stop on someone that should not have it. So I've been doing a lot of research on who owes and where they're actually at. It's very time consuming.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
That it? Public Works, Joe Smith, Paul Watlington.
Just a lot of, with the snow and the snow removal, like I said, we hit the streets a couple times before it froze up. Had a few people that aren't happy. Snow's covering their driveway. They don't want it blocking their driveway. But you have to go down the road and clear the road. Then we had a few after that when it turned to us. After we went through Vito and Street. They want the driveway shoveled out. Constantly calling, want the driveway shoveled out. They want to clear the snow from the apron, and a couple of them had doctor's appointments, and then they wanted us to shovel it. We told them we can't go. Paul was nice enough to go out and get ones that he did and went and visited people. The ones that needed shoveling, some of them we got Jason to go out and take care of. You know, needed a machine to move that.
Yeah.
You could ram your plow and snap your plow all day long if you want to, but it's not gonna move it. I just tried last night around 4 o'clock in the afternoon to do school. I cleaned up for the buses and that was jamming that plow in the next week. It don't want to move. It's a light duty pickup truck plow.
Yeah.
It's not a heavy highway. It's just not, they do a parking lot, 2-3 inches on the road, as long as it's powdered, you're good. Heavy, it's not gonna move.
Well, we don't need you guys to end up with a workman's comp claim, clean out something.
So once it turned to ice, then VDOT took over. They hit it with their plows. I think the Adams brothers were out there with their trucks.
They were.
Then they threw down salt. And it got to the point that they couldn't move it with their plows. I don't know if you've seen the motor graders come through with the tire change, but they did all through here and back up to scrape the ice. It was just once every 12-year storm. And they even nicknamed it Snow Creek because it was so hard. But that's the issues with why it looked like it did for so long. Until the salt actually hit it with the sand and the sun and the driving on started to clear, then they could move. That was an issue. A lot of people weren't happy. There's ice in front of my road. That's the other thing. A lot of complaints about little patches of ice. Like the road may be clear, but then there's a 10-foot patch of ice.
Well, how, in the shade.
Every fold that.
In the shade. Yeah, I mean, that's.
They want to know why we're not sanding it salt. We don't do they don't have these.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, that will come through, and they did.
Too cold for salt.
But you have to wait it out.
Yep.
They just weren't comfortable with that.
They can call the doctor and reschedule.
And doctor's offices were closed. I mean, places were closed.
Some people just aren't happy. Then we had the trash problem. They called Thursday morning. They go, we just drove the roads with the pickup truck. We don't feel safe bringing the trash truck down those roads. You're trying, they can't get closer. I said, okay, when you think he's coming? He says, how about next trash? That's fine, if that's what you guys are good with. So tomorrow they're coming out with the trash truck, the driver and a helper with it. And we'll see what's around them because I have an idea that there's going to be trash piled up around the camp. So I don't know how they're going to do it because regular 1 can load usually fills that truck to the top. So with the extra, there could be issues. I don't know. I won't know until tomorrow. But they weren't happy about that. I got calls today saying, I don't understand why they didn't pick up the trash. Major filtering. Alta Vista cleared their road. So Alta Vista has heavy equipment, machines, salt. They're good to go.
About 15 men working on it too.
Yeah. And they weren't happy with that. So you can't make everybody happy. There's still people out complaining, but we don't have the equipment. That's what it was. So.
And we don't want the equipment either.
No.
Y'all top notch in my eyes.
Thank you. And then, we had a few breaks. We had to go out and go to the meters. They were under people's houses, not on our roads. We watch it all day long, and all of a sudden you see one pop with 300 gallons an hour. Then you go to water's running out to crawl space. Back line. We had about 3 of them. We were able to catch him and digging the meter, and you actually had an idea about where it was, but one of them took us 2 hours. So,
Yeah, they were out there in that ice,
And then I see.
2 hours.
The whole front yard is just, it's just great. It's because they take it out all, it's not, it's a foundation.
but things like that. And otherwise, I mean, we've just been working on the grant, trying to straighten out paperwork, going over issues, looking at like the reports that Paul sent us for the safety, and trying to put all this stuff together. like Mary was saying, we started the grant. We had to do the schedule one, which is the first payment you're asking for, who you paid, and then they'll start sending money off. That stuff we've been working on.
The whole point is, they don't have an extra minute for anything. A whole lot of days, they're 1:30, 2 o'clock eating lunch because they're out and about. I went over there, what was it, Saturday morning, Saturday, at the trailer park?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went over there to check on them. They're out there in that bitter cold, shoveling snow, looking for a meter that the guy had practically parked his car over top of. And they were out there for what, 2 hours?
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I admit, I told them load up and go home. Just, hey, what it is, go home. Because it wasn't, it was under the trailer. It wasn't our problem. But they hung with it till they got it. But that's what these people do for us. And everybody lives in this town, because when they get a call, they don't ask who it is, they go. Thank you, Joe.
Well,
Paul, appreciate it.
appreciate it. That's all we got for right now.
Well, I'm sure it'll be something else tomorrow. Jason,
Everybody has the, form for last month. I put it at the very bottom. I didn't have anything, but I do have something because I got something this afternoon. I only made one copy of each, and I'll give you this, and I'll give you this. What he has is a barrier system, and what this is a taser quote. So that's a price for a barrier system. This is a price for a taser quote. The reason why I give you this is I would like to go after this in grant money. Okay, this right here is 26,000. That's like 140.
139,000,
It's
more than that.
yeah, that's over here. And 139, but
What's that one for, there for?
barriers, so the portable barriers, so what that would be is have a car show. You bring them out, put them in front of the car show, so you can't have people drive through. You have trunk or treat, you put them out over here. You have a Christmas parade, you set them up so you can't, because people will pass your barriers. If we get into a water situation where we've got to shut the system down, just like we had to underpass, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, we had to shut that corner down. I'd give you some form of security. If you run into it, it's going to pick your car up off the ground. You'll probably tow your vehicle, put you past it, road closed sign. It's on them. I want to go out there if I can get it for 100% grant. If it's free money, I want to go after it. Our tasers are 2013 models. Taser still sells the probes to go in the end of them, and they still sell the batteries. However, they don't support it anymore with the firmware and the software. These are for Taser 10s. If I go out there grambling these, I had them price me everything. It's virtual reality training. It's suits that you wear for training. It's targets. It's a bunch of different training cartridges. The reason why I'm pushing to go after the virtual reality is the cartridges will cost you $30 a cartridge. You start going here and train, what that entails is if you're training, you're going to burn one cartridge real easy. So you're starting to lay out $30. Virtual reality, you put it on and you just train. I've experienced both of them. It's really interesting to do the virtual reality part of it. But I just want to see if I get support from council if I go after it. I think the only thing, I'm trying to go after it last year, and they kicked on it. And they didn't only kick mine, but they kicked everybody that went after it. It's because they had training in there. So last year's quote for this was they would send a taser instructor to us for 2 days to train us on this. I had them take that out. However, I added in everything I could add into it. I'm hoping they don't kick on it. DCJS will do what they want to do. The one thing they may kick on is extended warranties. I don't know until I submit it. And then a lot of times if I submit, they say, I don't like this, can you rewrite it and take this out? And then they will accept it. So that's kind of where we are. If we have to put some money out there, it may be it may be with the extended warranty part of it. But our equipment's getting old. When we sit in a class, for taser class, and people ask, who's got what? And they're like, okay, X26 models, X26Ps, Taser 7s, Taser 10s, Taser 2s, and you just kind of figure it out. You see, I mean, it's just, we're getting old, our equipment's getting old. So that's kind of where we're at.
Those road deterrents, how many do you need to block one of our roads effectively?
So Steve has the quote in his hand, the one that's for 139 is 6 lanes. And y'all are probably thinking 6 lanes, why do we need 6 lanes? If you go down Prospect Road, it's a 2-lane road, however, it's 4 lanes because you have parking on both sides. So if you gotta close it on both ends, like the car show, you would close it on one end, you probably wanna close it on the other. That would be 8. So what you would do was you would close it on one end, post up at the other, put them down, and that will give you access. Everybody would access out of one end with police on that end. It's just a safety precaution for us. If we can get it, I'd recommend getting it. If it comes with a trailer at storage, it's not like we got to buy a storage building. It's all there in that trailer. You just hook it up and pull it out and set it up. But does that answer your question?
So I'm just thinking on all of the events we do, would 6 be enough for closing off the parking lot? Like when we do the Christmas event?
I think it would, yes. I do.
Okay.
I think it would close off his parking lot.
Okay. And then when we do the town pickup, there's quite a few road entrances. Is 6 enough for that?
Well, you could not close them off because you can't close them off because what's going to happen is let's say you close off your street
Mm-hmm.
and Gary's street, you've got to have somebody to be able to move them. So if
Yeah.
you got somebody who wants to come out, you've got to have somebody that's trained in order to move them. Because I'll be at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to think through all those situations. But if you think
Yeah.
6 is enough, that's good. I honestly
Maybe
think
they're going to give me 6 for free. I'm going to take it.
Well, the fire department's always been a big help.
Thank you. I mean, anytime. So what's concerning to me going forward, if we rewind back several months ago, we had a state trooper get run over out here and got his leg smashed up, and then the fire department's truck got hit, tore it all to pieces. I know the fire department's even looking at buying a Scorpion truck to work 29 with. I was out on 29 today, and I mean, we don't work 29, but people don't care. To be
Yeah.
quite honest. A lot of people just send run you over.
I can tell you the scariest I was pushing snows on Prospect Road.
It's dangerous.
Well,
It's really dangerous.
I honestly think even if we don't get grants for these, we should think about including money for these devices in next year's budget because it's just too common of an instance across not just the US, but even the world. These instances of people using vehicles as weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something that we should look into if we can get grant money for. Yes, and if they come back and if we can't get grant money for it, I'll just come back and say, hey, I can't get grant money for it, or okay, they match us at 90, or they match us at 80, but we don't know unless we try, I guess is what I'm getting at. I know with the other grant for the tasers, I'm gonna try to do that grant. I'm trying to find money on the barrier system. I've already reached out to VDM, but I haven't reached out to FEMA. VDM told me no. FEMA, I don't know where FEMA's at. So I've got a list of them to go down, but the TASER grant, I'm gonna do in the next probably 3 or 4 days to try to get that. So I'll need a yay or nay on that.
I think they all sound great.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? John, you're up.
Well, we just did all that we could do to get us some positions for future industrial development. At this point, we're just waiting. The bill to allow us to provide a discount for low-income folks was passed by the General Assembly 99 to nothing. It was a total bipartisan passage. Now it's in the Senate for their final approval. So it looks like it's going to go through, no problem. Good deal.
Anything else?
That's all.
I do not have anything to add to the meeting tonight.
I do.
Paul?
One, I talked to Jeremy Shelton this week. He agreed to another 4-year term on planning and zoning.
Great.
I will try to get Courtney tomorrow. I just went out and about, and she's had a packed lot. I didn't want to bother her too much because she has had a packed lot every day. I don't know if you talked to Glenn.
He's mulling it over.
And then secondly, I passed out everybody contractor safety requirements for the town. This is something we've been helping Joe and Paul with. It's a requirement for this, for the water. And Virginia's requiring it, everybody's requiring it. Nothing in there is outside of normal requirements for any job you work, whether it be for Liberty, whether it be a school system or anything. The insurance that's required states right there. The thing I would like to do is for a motion to be made, and John, I'm see if my verbiage is correct here, that we can pass this, but it stay open for adding to it without having to keep bringing it back in front of council for a revote on everything we add.
Well,
Because on this copy, on this copy, I don't have, because I'd already ran these off on the printer, and the printer already started going hoots, but on what Joe and Paul have, I have added a plumbing and welding section to it that's after the crane and rigging, that's not in this one.
well, can't you get that in this and then pass it on?
I can, if everybody's good with the email, because I could just email it to everybody.
Yeah, you've got everything but the plumbing.
Yeah.
So you put that in there, and you won't need to do any additional.
Unless something, the state comes back and says, hey, we need you to add carpentry, or we need you to add concrete, or we need you to add asphalt.
Well, you can put in your motion that once you get the plumbing in there, that it would be adopted by the council, and who is going to have the authority then to make amendments to it without council? Were you talking about the mayor doing it? Or who's going to have the authority to make those changes?
I was since I wrote it, I kind of figured I'd be the one amending.
The OSHA manual comes out every 4 years.
Yes.
If there's any changes made, it'll be in that manual.
Yeah, because 2026 is that year.
Could you write something into it?
I didn't know
As
this is ongoing.
Yeah, as per the OSHA manual, and it would be updated to follow the OSHA manual.
Yeah, as required
Yeah,
by changes in the OSHA laws or statutes or things like that, but not just to your discretion.
One that, no, and I've done this, pulling myself out of it. This is just years of what's always been expected in a job site, and that's including working state jobs with Davis Bacon and everything that they require for it, because that gets to a whole nother level.
And we didn't have any standards to work by.
Right.
It's had to hurt. And if we could tell them to follow OSHA manual standards, but for the town of Hurt, we didn't have any standards or requirements for them to do.
How do we enforce it and inspect it?
We don't inspect it. When they pull permits, they have to pull the permits for the job. So when they do a rough-in, let's just say rough-in plumbing, then they have to call the plumbing inspector out of Pennsylvania County to come inspect it before they can backfill it.
Right.
Same thing with mechanical, electrical, and that's in here, that they have to pull their permits. They have to post them conspicuously, and before any service can be done, it has to be inspected. That comes from the county.
Yeah, so when they tell us that they have all this, we take them at their word.
Yeah, we can go out and look.
They can go out and look, plus I
So
would,
you guys would be inspecting?
they won't count as the inspector, no.
No. I'm just saying on
Yes.
behalf of her.
On behalf of her.
They would go out and make sure that they're licensed.
And what I'll add in here also, is that they will have to turn in their past certificate, if rough and electrical, here's where the inspector gave a pass. Cause they issue, they don't just sit here and say, pass, continue on. You get issued a certificate that you passed your rough in, that you passed your final. Because you have to get your certificate of occupancy before you can cut the water on to it. Each one of those comes with a step, and I'll amend it, we haven't even passed it, but when I bring it back to the next meeting, I'll have in there that as they pass rough ends and finals, that they have to hand a copy of the documents over to you.
Right.
Well,
And as far as the ocean, you observe it and you let them know if they're following ocean standards. You can't enforce.
well, that was gonna be my question. So we can't enforce anything. If you go out to a job site, let's say somebody hires a plumber that don't have one of these licenses, and they come into the town and they do plumbing work for this individual, and we just hear
That's on that individual.
okay,
This
that's
is
on
just for the town, just for town work.
town, okay,
Yeah, that's just like,
Major water line.
right.
yes, this is for any.
The phase 2 project too.
Yes.
Almost all the contractors that handle this stuff have these problems.
Yes, they have, there's nothing in here that's out of the ordinary.
That's why on the job sites, you have to set, hang signs, of safety. Like I'm sure they're gonna put some on the, pumping station fence, things like that.
Yeah, they'll sit there, their head.
And you guys gonna be working with them anyway, so you're gonna know.
And she's coming too once a week and she'll,
Yeah,
just like she talked about that sign we had in
yeah,
that.
yeah.
For example, in the crane and rigging, it always, and it's documented in here, it always falls to the crane operator's discretion. If there's a lightning strike 5 miles from here, let's just say there's a lightning strike in Gretna. He has the discretion to sit there and say, there's a lightning strike that just hit multiples 5 miles from here, we're shutting it down. He also has the discretion if the wind gets up, it's up to each operator. If they feel comfortable operating in a 20-mile-an-hour wind, then they'll operate. If they sit there and say 20-mile-an-hour wind is too uncomfortable in this crane, we're shutting it down. And I also put the discretion into Joe and Paul's hands in here also that said if they observe unsafe work, they can shut the job down.
Cool. Sounds good.
But I've got the plumbing part. I'll fine tune and bring it all to the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Anything else?
No, that was it. Just wanted to mention that Jeremy agreed, and I'll get with Courtney. If Glenn doesn't, I was thinking maybe Colin Adams. To reach out to.
Yeah. I'll try to get with Glenn, see if he wants to do it again. He said he could think about it.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have anything to add, so we are adjourned at 7:45. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you all.